All right, hey everybody. Let me adjust this right here. A little better view. Hope things are going well for you on this Friday, June 21st, 2024. I've got some news here for the real estate market and your property values, your net worth, and what the consumer is saying based on contracts that have been written and gone through lenders and through the National Association of Realtors. So this is the most complete up-to-date information. I've compiled it. And what I'm talking about, the curb appeal, I interject futures. I used to be a big futures trader, stockbroker, heavily involved in the markets. And I used to use my analysis on future outlooks to make my investments, my predictions, things like that for myself and for customers. So using that information, I've now, with Dream Home Yardscaping, I am looking at real estate and I'm looking at your net worth and your property values. I live in this area and I have several clients who use my services to beautify their homes, increase their property values, and increase their net worth. So, as it turns out, I had an estimate for return of value, return on your investment, that's ROI, of 104% for new landscaping, new yardscaping. Yardscaping is a term I coined from my company, Dream Home Yardscaping. So the return on investment, or ROI, I had set at 104% based on obviously outdated information. So with the new numbers coming in from NAR and from other outlets, based on the contracts across the nation. And so I'm in the Florida market. So now that 104 now has jumped to 200 to 400%. So your return on investment for a new design, for me to come onto your property, redesign your landscaping, and give you a stellar curb appeal. Now that investment has gone from 104% to 200 to 400% return on investment. That's a huge jump. So we're doubling and quadrupling that number of 104. Not exactly, but close enough. 1 to 2, 1 to 4, double and quadruple. Okay, so it went from 104 to now 2 to 400% on that. And so that is a huge jump of significantly higher now. The market changes now. This is coming over the last several months again. So this is in arrears here. So things had to have happened for this report to come out. So these are already things that have happened in it. So now we're looking forward. So we're in arrears, like taxes would be that. Now we're going to be looking forward to your future incomes for your net worth and your property values. Okay, so now 70% of home buyers, 70% are now considering curb appeal as the number one issue on whether or not to buy your home. And we're going to talk about first-time home buyers. We're going to talk about your cash buyers. We're going to talk about affluent buyers. And then we're going to do a range of $250,000 and below, $250 to $500, $5 to $750, $750 to $1 million, $1 million plus. So we got a range of buyers out there. Some are cash, some are financed. And so we're going to cover all that right now real quick. So 70% of home buyers now consider curb appeal as the most important factor in making an investment with their hard-earned money. Okay? Now this is being cited and recognized by first-time home buyers through the National Association of Realtors and landscapers, landscape designers, and artists like myself. I've been talking about this now for several months, trying to persuade people how important this is. They think that maybe adding a rug or cleaning a window is going to provide value to your home, or changing out a toilet. It's going to really do nothing for your home or anything for you're stagnant on the market. And we're seeing a lot of homes being stagnant, going stale on the market right now. Okay, because people are being very, very choosy with the limited inventory. So now you can now, after you've done a new landscape design, new plants, new stones, new mulch, it depends on how far you want to go, expand the design, whatever you're going to do, have me do for you. After that is said and done, not only is your ROI going 200 to 400% on your investment, that's your money out of your pocket that I'm talking about. So if you put up 1,000, 2,000, 4,000, that's what you're going to get back. Now, when it comes to your home value, that's going to increase your home value by 10 to 12%. Depending, of course, on what you're doing in landscape. If you're just taking out a tree and putting in another palm tree, most likely not going to have that happen. Now, we're talking about the beautification of your home. So you can also look at my video on the beautification of Hunter's Ridge, and I'm going to have the beautification on several other HOA and subdivisions throughout this area, and why these homes are staying on the market, why you're seeing price reductions instead of price increases with the low inventories, and how realtors... Now, a realtor, you have to be part of the National Association of... Oops, there goes my light. Okay, no more light there. That's not a big deal. You have to be part of that group. So if you're not a part of the National Association of Realtors, certain things are not going to apply to you on an ethics level or part of that group level. Okay? So according to them, they compile most of the data. But as a realtor, you can or cannot be involved with that association. So they're now buyers can also deduct money off their offer, and they can negotiate this now. This is becoming a big negotiation. With a lot of people, a lot of buyers saying, no, 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 no. I'm going to have to come in and put X amount of money into your home, not only on the outside, because when people drive up to your home, they want to see curb appeal. That is the number one thing going for you as a homeowner. If you don't have curb appeal, your home value is going to suffer. And that is why I put extensive curb appeal into my property, because I know the power of the curb appeal. It's the number one thing, especially for women. Men are going to gripe and they're going to say, oh, honey, we can't do that. And the wife says, oh, yes, we can. Yes, we will. And if you're not going to do it, then I'm going to hire someone who knows how to do it. And that guy that you're going to hire is me at Dream Home Yardscaping. And so what we're going to do is we're going to come in and cut in new designs, and we're going to reimagine your entire property. So when your house is for sale, or if you're not selling and you're holding for the right opportunity to sell, your house is going to be ready to command that price. And the days on market are going to be much shorter. Days on market, that's a big indicator of who wants to buy your home. Days on market are 10, your home's under contract, that's very good. It means your price right in your home is very desirable. Or you may have multiple offers. And that's based on curb appeal. 70% now, 70%, 70. They want curb appeal. They want that stunning property. Okay, so you have nice tile. Well, everyone's got nice tile in Florida. You've got everyone has new windows. Roof. Okay, a roof is a roof. You have to replace it. Get a lot of weather here. Curb appeal is where it's at. That's what the women want. Women usually control the negotiation on real estate transactions. The husband may have the financial ties, but the woman is going to dictate what happens with that home. Okay, now, so let's talk about some interest rates here for a 30-year fixed mortgage. Where as of today, June 21st, 2024, we're at 6.92%. 6.92% on a 30-year fixed, okay? And that's down 0.08% from 7 days ago, okay? So we're at 6.92, down 0.08% from a week ago. And for a 15-year, 6.35%, that's also down 0.08%. The jumbo loan, if you're going jumbo, that's over $726,000. A lot of homes are valued much higher than $726,000. So if you don't have a cash buyer, that's a jumbo loan. That's a whole new debt-to-income ratio. That's a whole new credit history. That's a whole new everything. If you're getting a loan for $726,000, that's a game changer. Your criteria is much higher. You're a greater risk. That bank is now loaning you quite a bit of money. And so your debt-to-income ratios probably cannot exceed 36%. Now, 36% is usually standard. It can go to 43%, but definitely, you start talking 50% on debt-to-income ratio, you're really pushing the boundaries and the limits. Unless you have significant funds in the bank, and then the bank's going to ask you, why are you borrowing all this money if you have funds inside the bank account? So you may run into a little bit of problem there. Okay? So we got 10 to 12% higher list price with new curb appeal. 70% of buyers are demanding new curb appeal. 70% of buyers now can deduct money off their offer, or they can negotiate that down, and they can walk away from the deal. So I'm strongly advising the people in the beautification plan zoning here to to hit me up. And I know there's a lot of people who want to sell. You're at the top of the market in some of your homes. You've made a lot of money, and it may be time to cash out. If you don't play it right, you're going to lose that equity rather quickly. There's a lot of new home builds coming up, and some people are going to leverage that against the more established homes in the neighborhood. The ARM is 5 to 1, 6.59%. And so we got credit score also on the jumbo loan, 700 higher, minimum 700. You're looking at 620, 640 for a FHA or conventional loan, depending on what lender that you're going to be using there. So and the inventory is also up 7% month to month, and it's approximately 20% higher than May of last year. The median price, not the average price, the median price now is $419,300. That's up 6% from last year. It's year over year. Sales are at a 30-year low. 30-year low. And they're tying this directly into curb appeal and the first-time home buyer. That's what this is all about here right now. And this is what I was talking about, the first-time home buyer. We need first-time home buyers coming in. They're coming into the market. But they're being very skeptical on what homes they're buying. That's why we're seeing some homes being stagnant, even though they may be nice on the inside. The outside is not good. It's not what they want. It's not what the wife wants, the girlfriend wants, the fiance wants. It's not what they want. They're not buying. They're not going to buy. So that the average price now, the median price, $419,300, up 6%. Sales are at a 30-year low. The mortgage rates were they're fluctuating 6.5 to 8%. So they're at 6.92 as of today. And the low inventories are taking the blame. Also, the economics around the country, that's really taking the blame here. Okay, so we were at 70. If you watched my previous video, we're at $70,000 above what the average buyer can afford to buy. Well, now we're at $80,000 above that. Okay, we're at $80,000 above that. So 70 to 80 is 10%. I mean, $10,000 on that. So that's another thing. So now the average buyer is $80,000 underwater trying to buy a home. Okay, sales fell 3% from May of last year. These are based on closed sales and are based on contracts likely signed in March and April. Rates took a big jump in April. That's where the 8% came in. They took a big jump. They've kind of come back down to 6.92 now. Unless you're working with the builder, giving you some incentives, some kickbacks, some things that closing with their specified lenders. You have to remember that. You have to use their lenders and go through all of their hoops. They have you locked in there. So if you're working with a new build, 5 to 7 months minimum on that build process, if not pushing a year, depending on materials and labor and what state, what city, what county that you're building in, the permitting, the whole process, what builder, what's going on with that. So that can take you at least 5 to 7 to pushing towards a year. A lot of things can happen in that time, and you usually can't get locked in until you're getting close to close. Remember that in a new build. I've done it several times. You want to be very careful. Very careful on that. Okay, so now the average rate for a 30-year right now is just below, so we said 6.92%. Housing is not in a recovery mode. Housing is not in a recovery mode. This is based on all the contracts going through the National Association of Realtors. It's not in a recovery mode. So don't let them have you believe that this is in a recovery. Don't let any agent tell you that this is in a recovery mode. We are not in a recovery mode. Okay, it's just not true. The sales were unchanged month to month in all regions except the South, where they fell 2%. Well, we're in the South here. We're falling 2%. Okay? Imagine that. Imagine that. They're falling 2%. Okay? Now, the biggest change happened in May with the inventory jump up from 7% month to month to almost 20% higher than May of last year. Okay? We'll recap all this real quickly, okay? So right now, we have a current inventory of homes of 3.7 months. Okay, that's not that good. 3.7 months supply. If we get some more inventories, that's going to boost the sales. Of course, that's just basic supply and demand economics, right? You throw 1 million homes onto the market now, and then all the buyers sitting on the sideline are going to want to jump in, and now you're going to have price reductions because you have many more items to choose from. So your beautiful home with limited inventory now does not possess the same value that it had, because now everyone on your block has listed their house. And all those homes on their block, they may have better curb appeal. They may have some amenities that you don't have. So now your X variable price has now come down. So now we have to use a little bit of algebra and basic mathematics to understand how much it's coming down, why it's coming down, how we can get it to rebound. And those variables are going to be very dependent on economic factors, not just mathematical factors or equations. This can be economics. Okay. So we have the sales of new homes priced below $250,000. Now, how many homes do you see priced below here in $250,000 in this area? Zero. I can't say zero because that's not a good number to use. Very few. It's like all in the test question. When you see the word all, it'd be very skeptical. So $250,000 and below. Okay, that is, I lost my place here. That's lower than a year ago. And homes priced between $250,000 and $500,000, they were up 1%. 1%. And sales of homes priced between $750,000 and $1 million, they're up 13%. And the sales of homes worth more than $1 million, 25%. So I was talking about this earlier. The people who you're talking about, your affluent buyer, your sophisticated buyer, your buyer who's intellectual. They may or not have a college degree. Doesn't mean it's because you have a college does not consider you or classify you as an intellectual. There's a lot of many self-made people here who came out of high school and got in business and made the right moves, made a lot of money, and they become very savvy buying and selling real estate. So you don't need a Harvard degree to understand this. Maybe some of you do. I'm trying to make this as simple as I can so that everyone can understand this. So the more money the home is, the more buyers they are. That's because your higher priced homes have better curb appeal. They have higher ceilings, larger living rooms, larger bedrooms, larger square footage. But they also have the curb appeal. They have the outdoor living space, whether that just be a beautiful landscaping with a path of stones, and they may have a pool in the backyard. Some people may or may not want a pool. It could be a liability. A pool can definitely be a liability. Okay, so keep that in mind as well. Cash buyers accounted for nearly 30% of all home purchases, and first-time home buyers came in at 31%, up from 28% a year ago. So 30 and 30 right there. A third and a third are cash and first-time home buyers. Okay? Now, second home buyers and or investors, they accounted for 16%. So we accounted for 16% of all home purchases. So when I go out and I buy a second or a third property, I'm in that 16%. So if you're buying a second home, you're in that 16%. It's a high number right now for people to be buying a second, third, or fourth home. They can see the power in real estate. And they're buying homes with curb appeals, or they're buying new builds with the opportunity to install custom curb appeal. Okay, so that's what's going on there. Distressed home sales, foreclosures, 2%. 2%. So if you think you're going to come in and get savvy with a short sale or a distressed property or foreclosed property, 2% of all those properties have been sold that way. Let's see here. Home sales in the Northeast, they were flat at 480,000 units, up 9.2%. The Midwest also flat, 317,000, up 6.4%. Again, in the South, we fell 2%. The South, we fell 2%, 374,300. That's up 3.6%. And the home sales in the West were also flat. When I say flat, that means there's no increase. They're trading sideways. It's like a stock. It's not going up or down. It's trading $12.67 straight across the board. Very, very small fluctuations, $12.76, $12.81, $12.54. It's trading sideways. That's what flat means. It's just flat. Okay, condos and co-ops also unchanged at 400,000 units, and many listings are becoming stale for a lot of the reasons I just talked about. You overprice, you don't have curb appeal. Mainly because you don't have curb appeal. It's an ugly house. It's not attractive. It's undesirable. And people who have first-time home buyers taking a loan, they saved a lot of money for that down payment, whether that be 3.5%, or 10 or 20%. Now, if you don't have the 20% down, you got PMI insurance. We'll talk about that real quickly here too. So new homes are selling quickly. The nice homes are selling quickly. So if you've got a beautiful home, it's not sitting around. People want the nice stuff. Homes with curb appeal in excellent condition are going the fastest. And okay, now to counter this tide, now if you can't afford to buy a home or a condo or a townhouse or a single-family home or a duplex or anything like that, my best suggestion is to you you may want to consider buying mortgage bonds. Okay, it's another way you can play the game of the rich. You can buy some mortgage bonds. It takes a little bit of liquidity, a lot of patience. So if you've got, say, anywhere from $5,000 to $50,000, you can consider buying some mortgage bonds. You know, unless $50,000 gets you into a home, it may or may not, depending on the price of your home, your credit score, and everything else, type of loan, what you're doing. All right. So now, remember, the average home now is more than $80,000 higher than what it was. My previous video was $70,000. That was 2 weeks ago. It's up $10,000. So now you're $80,000 underwater. $80,000 you can't afford. The American dream, for a lot of people, it's not there right now. The home buying, the American dream home buying. Everything else may be going good for you. It's right there, okay? So, I want you to don't forget about the beautification plans that I've sent out to everybody who's watching this video on my website. Okay? Call me about it. Let's get things rocking and rolling and get your net worth up and your property values up. So if you list, when you're ready to list, your house goes quickly. People are going to pull up and they're going to say, yes, I like that. Beautiful. Great, great, great. Let's get it under contract, and you can start the negotiation process and all that. This is all proven by the National Association of Realtors. Everything I've said in the past now has come true based on the NAR and the recent facts about curb appeal and about home buying, home selling, listing, and negotiation. Everything I've said in the past now has come true, which it usually does. Like I said, I'm a forecaster. I'm also a realist. So now the average home is $80,000 higher than a borrower can afford, and the lower interest rate adjustments by the Federal Reserve, they're probably not coming. The Fed's not going to save anybody. You need to save yourself. You need to be ready. You need to save your money. You need to be smart about the money. You need to know how to save, where to spend, and how to spend, how to save to get your home, your condo, your townhouse, your duplex, your apartment, your second, your third home. Whatever you're doing, sacrifices need to be made on that. Okay, so now you need to be prepared when you list or when you're holding on to your property. You really need to contact Dream Home Yardscaping. I've got this down. I got a great formula. The work is meticulous. Your property value is definitely going to increase. So is your net worth, because once you sell it, what do you get back? Remember, 200 to 400% of your ROI of the landscaping, and how much you can extend your list price offer for. The value of your home has gone up by how much? Do you remember? 10 to 12%. 2 to 400, 10 to 12% on all that right there. So that is going to, I think that covers everything right here. Let me see if I forgot anything here. I'm going to talk, that's another thing. What is it, 36%? We're talking about that. We're talking about debt to income ratio. It's usually 36%. 43% tops if you go 50%. And that jumbo loan is very high risk. We talked about the 30-year mortgages of 6.92. We talked about the 5-to-1 ARM. We talked about 15-year mortgage. We've kind of covered the basis here. Cash buyers are 30%. First-time buyers are about 30%. Investors, 16%. And that leaves just a small margin of people in the other category. 70% of buyers now want curb appeal. All right, so thanks for watching this video. Any questions, any comments, you can give me a call. You can reach out to me any way you can. I'm sorry it's a little bit dark in here. I'm in my work vehicle, and I'm just trying to rattle this stuff up here. 3.71 million homes were sold, single-family homes. It's up 5.7%. Average cost $424,500. I can probably go through a little bit more of this here. I think I covered most of the bases here. Talked about that. The West doesn't really appeal. It's about $630,000 for an average home price over there. So anyways, that is the news here on it. Curb appeal now is rated as the #1 item for buyers in the United States of America. Curb appeal. Dream Home Yardscaping is a curb appeal specialist. We knock it out of the ballpark every day. I hope you learned something here about the markets, about the Federal Reserve, stocks and bonds, how to invest, how to save, what to look for. Contact a realtor. Contact somebody to help you. If you don't hire me, hire someone to fix up your property and get some curb appeal. You can look at some of my samples on my website. I have a proprietary design book also, so it sets me apart. Anyways, I'm out of here. It's time to go. It's Friday. It's June 21st, 2024. Interest rates are 6.92%. Markets can be stagnant, trading sideways, a little bit flat. That's it. Gotta run. Take care.